Anne Frank lived in Amsterdam in the 1940s. Around that time, something changed Anne's life forever, and something she wrote changed the way people saw what happened drastically. The world encounters Anne's diary. Anne and her family had moved from Germany to the Netherlands in the 1940s. Her father ran a company that made opekta, which was a chemical used to make jam. Anne and her family were Jewish, which was the reason that they had to leave Germany. The Nazi Party was led by a terrible man called Adolf Hitler who blamed the country's problems on the Jewish people.
Die große Zeit ist jetzt angebrochen. Deutschland ist nun erwacht. Die Macht haben wir nun in Deutschland gewonnen. Nun gilt es, das deutsche Volk zu gewinnen. Ich weiß es, meine Kameraden, es ist euch wohl oft schwer gefallen, wenn ihr meint, es müsse nun ein Wandel kommen und er kann nicht und immer wieder muss er euch Appell gerichtet werden. Es muss weitergekämpft werden, denn es geht nicht. Ihr dürft nicht handeln, ihr müsst gehorchen, ihr müsst euch fügen.
Then Nazis invaded Holland and the Netherlands. Things changed immensely for Anne and all of her friends. They weren't allowed in certain places, even villages. Around this time, Anne also received the diary. She got it from her father for her 13th birthday. She wrote everything in there, from her family's struggle with the newfound rules to her sister Margot's report card, and even about happy things like weddings. However, something changed the Franks' life forever. Margot received a call-up, saying she had to go to a concentration camp. This sped up the Franks' plans to go into hiding. They hid in a secret annex behind her father's office. The door was concealed by a bookshelf. Along with the Frank family, those also in hiding included Herman Van Pels, August Van Pels, and their son, Peter Van Pels. Anne loved Peter, but thought he loved her sister, Margot. Outside of the annex, Anne had a boyfriend named Hello, but when she went into hiding, they were forced to break up. In the annex, Anne confessed her feelings for Peter, and he returned the feelings. In the annex, Anne, Margot, and Peter also continued to learn things, like shorthand. While they were in the annex, the U.S. joined the war.
Since the unprovoked and dastardly attack by Japan on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, a state of war has existed between the United States and the Japanese Empire.
This gave many Jewish people across the nation hope, including the Frank family. Where there's hope, there's life. It fills us with fresh courage and makes us strong again. The Franks thought that only 4 people knew about their hiding place, the secret annex. However, they were wrong. On August 4th, 1944, Anne and her family were arrested by Karl Silberbauer. They were taken to Auschwitz. This was practically a death sentence. I come from Auschwitz, sole survivor of 1,000. Sadly, only a few weeks before liberation, Anne and her sister died. Otto lived and decided to live with Miep Gies and her newly extended family. I always sorted through the post in the office and brought it to him. I sorted it and gave him what he had. He took it. Suddenly an icy silence descended, a sort of voluble silence. I looked up. He'd gone bone white. He gave me this letter. Here, read it. I hereby declare that Anne Frank and Margot Frank perished in the camp Bergen-Belsen. I stood up then and opened my desk drawer. I gathered up every volume of the diary and presented them to Mr. Frank with the words, "This is the legacy of your daughter Anne." Otto had Anne's diary published. After it was published, Anne's story spread throughout the world and showed many people the terrible truth about what was happening in the Holocaust. Otto thought that by publishing the diary, it would help people to understand his struggle.
To build up a future, you have to know the past. You see, I'm pretty old now, but I am not a bitter man. Young people write to me, asking questions. Many are writing a diary themselves, calling their diary Anna's diary. They write to Anna as Anna wrote to Kitty. And so, especially in the time of adolescence, they get a lot of confidence and hope for their lives in reading about Anna and her experiences.
Many movies were made about Anne, including an anime and many live action.
The sky. Aren't the clouds beautiful?
You're hiding.
It's a thief. You think the thief is going to go to the green police and say, I was robbing a place the other night, and I heard a noise above my head.
This book made such an impact on the world because it put the situation with an actual face, and it has given people an insight that no one would have heard without the existence of Anne Frank's diary. As people read this book, they become attached to her for many reasons. Cherries 13 via blog. As siren sounds, a life is broken. Eyes glaze with depression, as those who hide in the shadows wonder, wait, watch, as their hope disintegrates into dust, day by day, wondering if their screams will cease to carry. Anger is made out of 1,000 tears. Pain, agonizingly mind-numbing pain, as evil torments each house, corners unturned by this newfound darkness, eliciting terror. People can only watch in grievous silence as loved ones are stabbed with sickening poison, robbed of their purity, robbed of their dignity. The hidden people only wonder if their pain and abuse is all for nothing. Hope's world used to exist, as oblivious laughter and sweet messages merged to form a girl whose world was full of beauty, beautiful memories. Father taking her to the seashore, feeling the soft waves kiss her feet, with which it made her feel invincible. Whilst eating cream cakes and dreaming a sweet dream, Hope was a young girl, Miss Anne Frank, her mind filled with naivety, believing deeply that people are really good at heart. Despite hiding behind dust, screaming in terror from her nightmares, she believed that behind misery there was beauty. No man, no soldier, no priest is used to represent the voice of the Jews. One simple little girl represents the voice of the Jews, who show what life can be through her little checked notebook. Because people learned so much about the terrible and evil things that happened during the Holocaust, it made the world never want to have something that evil happen again. How wonderful is it that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. In spite of everything, I still believe that all people are really good at heart. We all live with the objective of being happy. Our lives are all different and yet the same. No one has ever become poor by giving.
By the wall and the guns shot above our heads.
The Holocaust brought many terrible things with it, and Anne's diary helped many understand how terrible it truly was. Without her diary, Anne Frank and the rest of the people who suffered would be merely a story. Anne puts a face on the pain, someone that you can get to know through her diary. It was a voice that without the diary, we never would have heard.
Many are writing a diary themselves, calling their diary Anna's diary.